Hello dear students, welcome to Conceptual OBG. In today's recorded lecture, we'll be talking about POCSO Act. POCSO is Prevention of Child from Sexual Offence. This is a very important act which you get as long notes or sometimes you get MCQs in various competitive examinations. So let us see today what we have to discuss in POCSO Act. Okay. So POCSO Act came into force in 2012, and POCSO Act is Prevention of Child from Sexual Offence. Okay, so child. Now, first of all, whom to define as child? So, for defining as child, the government of India has said that anybody who is less than 18 years of age will be considered as a child or a minor. So for a minor, any sexual offense or any sexual act done with or without the consent of the minor is considered to be an offense, and it comes under the POCSO Act. So this POCSO Act, before the POCSO Act came into existence, let us go into an introduction of what was the background upon which this POCSO Act has come into existence. So what was the need for this POCSO Act? If we look at the need of the POCSO Act, then the earlier acts which were there prior to 2012, the earlier acts were there. Basically, the IPC, Indian Penal Code 1860, had section 375, 354 and 377, which were talking about sexual offenses, which we have all studied in our forensic medicine. 375 is basically about rape, and 377 are the consequences of the rape or various other forms of rape, or the punishment of the rape is in 377 and 354. So these acts of IPC were dealing with rapes of adults. Also, there were provision for the minors. Okay, then we had the Goa Children Act and rules, which was already there prior to 2012. So this was this rule or act used to be cited in whatever proceedings were taking place in the courts. Okay. Then we had the Male Child Protection Act, which had finally come into existence because it was found that around 50%, okay, 50%, to be more specific, around 47% of the sexual harassments were reported in male children. Okay, so not only female children were the victims of sexual offenses, male children were also the victims of sexual offenses. So finally, this POCSO Act had come in 2012, whereby it has brought into the provision that not only the female children, but the male children who were sexually harassed were also included in this POCSO Act. Now, this POCSO Act has been modification of the United Nations Child Protection Act, which was there since 1989. So it was there since 1989. This act has been adapted from the United Nations Child Protection Act, initially. Now, what are the key features of this act? Okay. The key features of the act includes, number one, confidentiality. Now, by confidentiality, we say that no children's name or the identity of the children should not be disclosed. So disclosure of identity under POCSO Act is strictly prohibited, be it the government doctors or be it government servants or the police servants or the mass media. Nobody can disclose the name of the victim who is enrolled under the Child Protection Act or the POCSO Act. Number two, the second key feature is gender neutral provision. Gender neutral provision. By gender neutral provision, we mean that both male and female children who have been the victims of a rape or a sexual offense at less than 18 years will be considered compositely under this POCSO Act. Okay, so male children were also included for the first time. An Indian act was including the male and the female children under the same platform. The third key feature of this act is mandatory reporting, okay, reporting of the child abuses, of all the child abuses, okay, of all the child abuses, okay, has to be done. So if a child abuse crime has come into existence and the police has been notified by anybody, then it is mandatory that it has to be reported. Moreover, the doctor, suppose a girl after a rape has been brought to the hospital by anybody saying that this girl is bleeding or she's having bruises or something like that, and the doctor suspects, the gynecologist suspects that there has been a reporting of there has been a rape, then it is mandatory for the doctor to report the case. If you do not report, then you are answerable under the court of law. So no doctor can leave a child unreported. So this is the first time very strictly it has been said that mandatory reporting of all cases has to be done. This is very, very important from medical legal point of view. And I would ask everybody to be very attentive in this POCSO Act, because there are a lot of doubts and people come with doubts in day-to-day scenario also. The fourth point, which is very important, is the last seen theory. This is called the last seen theory. What do you mean by last seen theory? In the POCSO Act, it is considered that the person with whom the child was last seen before the rape or any sexual offense will be held responsible to answer in the court of law what has happened to the child. Suppose a child has been seen last with her uncle or somebody, with her friend, an adult friend or somebody from the house, and then she has undergone that incident whereby sexual offense has taken place, then that adult member or whoever was last seen in any CCTV footage or anybody, any witness has last seen, that person will be held responsible for the act. Now that person has to tell to the court of law whatever happened to the girl, okay, girl child or the boy child, whatever it is. The fifth is the child friendly investigations. Okay, so child friendly investigation procedure, okay, has to be followed. Investigation trial has to be followed. Now this is very important point. What are the child friendly investigation trials? Okay, now this POCSO Act has been devised in such a way that the children or the victim never get traumatized during the trial. Okay, so trials have been designed in such a way that it should be child friendly. By child friendly, I mean to say that the proceeding should be such that it is like a homely environment. Now this is a very important thing to note. What are the points of child friendly investigation trial? Number one, recording of the statements. Very, very important things I am telling. Recording of the statements has to be made, okay, at child's residence. At child's residence means at the home of the child, or wherever the child is comfortable with. The child is comfortable with. Now this is very important. Comfortable with, okay, this is very important. So for an adult, if you find rape case or something like that, they are called to the police station in the custody, and then the FIR or the trial is made. But for these type of cases where POCSO Act has been enacted, there it is the child's desire, be it child's house or any friendly environment whereby the guardian of the child can stay, or somebody near and dear can stay, so that the child does not get more and more traumatized being in the police custody. This is number 1 point. Number 2 is that woman constable is mandatory. Constable is mandatory if it is a girl child. Okay, for a girl child, woman constable is mandatory, and for a girl child, and the woman constable should not hold a position not below the sub-inspector level. So SI, sub-inspector or somebody higher than that should go for interrogation. Nobody lower than that, no subordinates lower than that should be allowed to record the statements. Okay. Then no child should be detained in the police station. Nobody should be detained in the police station at night. So at night no child will be detained in the police station is very, very important. As I had told, either the police will go to the house or the hospital or somewhere, okay, where the child is comfortable, or if by chance the recording of the trial is made in the police station, then during the daytime they will do, and not at the night time. So child will not be detained at night. Okay. Then very important, police should not be in the uniform. Police should not be in uniform, because many of the children get traumatized when they see police in their formal uniform. Okay, so police will not come in uniform, they will come in the out dress or some other dress, so that they are in disguise and child does not get traumatized. Okay. Then all the statements that has to be made will be written by the statements of the trial will be written by it is spoken by the child. Okay, spoken by the child. Okay, so all the statements will be made by the term that it is spoken by the child that this event has taken place. It is spoken by the child, or it is given by the child that this event has taken place, because whatever is given by the child, whatever is told by the child, he or she is a minor, less than 18 years of age. So you have to take a assent, not a consent. So consent is always made for more than 18 years of age, and assent is made for less than 18 years of age, whereby you need to validate with a guardian, a legal guardian. But then in this case, when the proceedings are made and the child is telling whatever is has happened to him or her, then we will write it is told by the child as this has taken place. Then the child protection cell has to be informed every time the such proceedings are taking place. Child protection cell is a specific type of cell which is available with every police station nowadays. Now this child protection cell has to be informed any case of POCSO Act, suspected POCSO victim comes to the hospital. It is the doctor's duty to inform the police station, the inspector or the sub-inspector in charge of the police station, and the child protection cell, CPC has to be informed every time. Then you should have frequent breaks. Frequent breaks are required between the trials. So you cannot conduct a very long trial existing for hours together, so the child should not be mentally traumatized. So you should have frequent breaks in between, whereby refreshments should be given to the child and care should be taken. So these all things are basically arranged by the child protection cell. Child protection cell consists of female members of the society who basically belong to some NGO, whereby they look after children and destitutes of the society. So they have motherly attitude so that the babies do not get traumatized. Then you have female doctors. Okay, so female doctors have to be taking care of POCSO Act as long as it is a female victim. So no male gynecologists are allowed to examine the female victim in a POCSO Act. Okay, female gynecologists have to be present during examination of the POCSO victim. This has been very strictly said. Okay, then the next thing is special codes. Okay, special codes have to be formulated for children when POCSO Act is being undertaken, that the trials. So all the trials of the POCSO has to be taken in special codes, whereby the environment has to be friendly so that children do not get traumatized mentally or physically. Okay, then compensation has to be given. Compensation has to be given to any doctor or staff who is being involved in the POCSO Act for that period of time. Compensation can be in the form of monetary compensation if the doctor has to travel to a court or give her verdict. Then in that case, compensatory off should be given for that period of time from her duty, and compensatory money for coming and going, this money should be refunded by the government. Okay, there is provision for that for the doctor or any staff who is involved directly with the POCSO Act. Then comes the speedy trial. Okay, besides that, speedy trial is also very necessary, because speedy trial will help in the child from the getting justice in a very short period of time. So because for that only the speedy trial process has been started. Now what do you mean by actually the speedy trial? Speedy trial means punishment of the culprit or the punishment of the complainant, okay, has to be there by 6 months to 1 year. Okay, so the entire proceeding has to be finished within 1 year, but the trial has to be lodged as early as possible, and the recording has to be started. The recording has to be started in less than 30 days. Okay, so from the time the case has been lodged, means the patient has come, the victim has come to the hospital, within the next 30 days the recordings of the case will have to be over, and by next 6 months to 1 year the punishment will be over, means the verdict will be given and the case will be over. So speedy trials of all the POCSO Acts is very important. Okay, next is the mass media. Okay, so the media people, for the media people also, it has been very strictly said that media cannot disclose the name of the victim, as well as they cannot delve into the matter much until and unless the proceedings are taking place. Okay, so these are the salient features. What do you mean by child-friendly investigation trial? So let us revise once again. The recording of the statement should be done in the child's residence or in an area which is comfortable for the child. Number 2, woman constable is necessary and mandatory for the girl child. Woman doctor is required for examining a girl child if it is a girl child. Okay, police station, child should not be detained in the police station at night, and police should not be in uniform. All statements have to be recorded by dash is spoken by the child. Okay, then comes the child protection cell has to be informed every time. Frequent breaks have to be given in between the trials, and refreshments have to be given. Special courts are held whereby compensation is given to the doctor, the staff, and everybody who is directly involved with the POCSO Act. Speedy trial has to be done within the first 30 days. Recording of the trial has to be done, and punishment and verdict has to be completed by 6 months to 1 year of recording of the case. And media and all have to be strictly prohibiting the disclosure of the name and identity of the patient. So these are the child-friendly investigations or the key features which are there. Now the next point comes, what are the principles of this act? What are the principles of this act. Okay, so principles of this act, there is difference between the key features and the principles. The key features, as we have already told, were the confidentiality or general neutral treatment and all the child friendly treatment. They were the key features. Now coming to the principles. The first principle is, number 1 is right to be treated with dignity. Right to be treated with dignity. Okay, so every child has the right to be treated with dignity. It means that child should be given due respect by both the doctor, every staff, and even the police personnel. So it is very important that you give proper treatment of dignity to the victim. The second one is right to survival. Right to survival. Okay, right to survival. Now what does this mean? The Indian Constitution in Article 21, they have said that it is the right for the rape victim to have a right to survival. Means no body should be ever jeopardizing the child or putting up allegations upon the child or making the life of the child hell by making lewd comments or thereby inculcating the physical or mental trauma to the child. So the right of the child to survival is to be given due importance. Number 3 comes the right against discrimination. Right against discrimination. Okay, so right against discrimination means you cannot discriminate between anybody. That some girl child, okay, some child has been undergoing a case because she is the minister's child, and some other child who is a poor, a destitute child has also been brought with the same case of POCSO. Then similar treatment has to be given to both. You cannot discriminate between two children just because of caste, creed, community, or monetary power. Nothing such like that. So POCSO Act says equal treatment for everybody, whoever qualifies for the POCSO Act. Number 4 is right to preventive measures. Okay, right to preventive measures. Okay, right to preventive measures means like all the preventive measures which are required to prevent mental and physical trauma to the child has to be undertaken during the proceedings of the Act. As I have already told you that child protection cell has to be informed every time. Whenever you examine a child, you as budding doctors, you will get cases in your hospitals. Even we used to get a lot of case that this child has been raped or sexually harassed by this person or that person. So you have to take precautions or preventive measures as doctors to inform the Child Protection Act, so that the further proceedings of the child during examination or even during the proceedings, the child does not get mentally or physically harassed. Okay. Number 5 is right to be informed. Right to be informed. Okay. Right to information is very important because the child has the right to get informed about what are the proceedings which are taking place. It is not that you cannot deny a child that I will not inform you. It is like it is the police who has the right to information or anything. The child has the right to information of regarding every step of the act which is being taking place. And the 6th is right to privacy. Right to privacy, which we had earlier also spoken. So right to privacy means her name should not be disclosed to anybody. Her or his name, whatever it is. Okay, the child's name should not be disclosed to anybody. Okay, so these are the principles. Basically, principles means the rights of the child. Okay, right to be treated with dignity, right to survival, right against discrimination, right to preventive measures, right to be informed, and right to privacy. Okay, so once we have noted the principles of the POCSO Act, now let us see what actually happens. Okay, so what is the timeline of events that you as doctors have to do in a POCSO Act? So the POCSO Act means that whenever a child has been brought to you, be it private setup, be it government setup, mind you, this is very important. Many private doctors, what they do is they send the child to government hospital saying that private doctors are not entitled for POCSO, but it is not like that. Whoever is the first doctor or first gynecologist, of course, to whom the first contact has taken place, then that doctor has a duty to inform the police inspector. Okay, PI has to be given. A police information has to be filed before you examine the child. So it is very important. Okay, so you have to inform. Suppose a child has been brought who is 17 years. Just giving an example. A 17-year girl has been brought to you saying that she is pregnant. Okay, she is suppose 20 weeks pregnant. Now what you will do? She has come for a routine antenatal visit. So once you have doubt in the age of the patient, you have to ask for Aadhaar card or some citizenship or some cards from which you can verify the age. If you verify the age and it is less than 18, then it comes under POCSO Act. But if there are no documents available, suppose they are not producing any document and you are doubting that the age is less than 18, in that case it is very safe and medico-legal that you get X-ray of the wrist done or involve a forensic medicine specialist, okay, or a radiologist you can involve, whereby radiographically or by the features of the body you can estimate the age of the patient. Because if later on it is found that it is the female is less than 18 years of age and you had seen earlier the patient, you did not report, then you are liable to answer in the court of law. So if such patient comes to you, then it is your duty to just inform. Till you give information is your duty. Now it depends on the police to ask and inquire whether they will make a medical legal case or not. That is the domain of the police, okay, and they will only inform the Child Protection Act, the Child Protection team, okay. So CPC will be informed by the police. But your duty as a gynecologist is to inform the police. Always remember that. Okay. So once you have informed the police, don't stop for the police to come and then I will proceed with my proceedings. No, emergency services has to be given to the child irrespective of whether police has come or not. Emergency services, and then your safety of the child, first aid to the child, okay, first aid to the child, that is the victim, has to be given. You will not wait for the police to come and then I will start. Okay, so you will give the first aid, you will do everything, and then after that you can do the examination also if you think it is apt to do the examination before. Otherwise the samples or the semen specimen will get diluted. Then you can do the examination also before. Otherwise, in the presence of the police, you can take swabs. So swabs will be taken from all areas including the genitalia. Okay, so there are set protocols. Most of the hospitals have, I think you all also have. There are booklets whereby you make 3 copies of the complaint, MLC. Okay, so 3 copies. One will be retained by the patient or the patient party. One will go to the police station and the other will remain in the hospital as a proof of the MLC. Okay, so 3 copies with carbon we generally make, and it is a 12 pages MLC which has to be given. Okay, so 12 pages MLC contains all the detailed examination, right from head to toe, mostly focusing upon the genitalia. And then if you think samples preservation will help in detecting the DNA and will help in getting the proper DNA from the sample, then you have to keep the relevant samples and always involve a forensic medicine team so that they are well aware of what events have taken place so that they can give their report very easily. So you as a doctor, your duty is to inform the police and give emergency services, safety and first aid services have to be given. Apart from that, the next what thing happens is, once the police has been informed, the police will come and they will take forward the next of the proceedings. So these next proceedings, as I have already told, will depend on the course of the events, whereby all these facilities have to be given, that is child friendly environment and everything, investigations and trials have to be maintained. Okay, now one thing I want to focus more on, what is aggravated sexual offense? Aggravated sexual offense. Okay, so this is very important in case of POCSO. So aggravated sexual offense means sexual act, okay, which is a more grievous than the normal rape. So more grievous act means if the sexual offense has been conducted on a mentally ill child, mentally ill or mentally challenged child, and by someone, okay, by a person of trustworthy nature, okay, of trustworthy nature, okay, or a guardian, okay, or a legal person, okay, who is responsible for the safety of the child, responsible for the safety of the child. Okay, so these will form the aggravated sexual offense. This will amount to more punishment than a simple rape. Okay, so when do we say aggravated sexual offense? When it is a mentally ill child, sexual offense has been conducted on a mentally ill child or by a person of trustworthy nature or a legal guardian under whom the child has been given responsibility, or a government personnel, okay, a government personnel like the police themselves or a teacher or somebody under whom the child has been held responsible. Okay, now various punishments are there. Basically they have lifetime imprisonment to fine of lakhs to crores are there in the POCSO Act. Okay, so what is important in the POCSO Act? Let's recapitulate once more. It has come in 2012, whereby children less than 18 years are the victims of the POCSO Act and they have to be included in the POCSO Act. Earlier, prior to POCSO Act, the Goa Act and the Male Child Protection Act were there. Now the POCSO has brought males and females less than 18 years together in the same platform, because 47% of the cases of rape of children were inflicted upon the male children. Now it has some key features and it has some principles. The key features are that confidentiality has to be maintained, there should be gender neutral provisions, mandatory reporting by the doctor has been made by the act. Then the last seen theory is the theory which the police will go about. This means the child who was the person with whom the child was last seen will be considered to be one of the main person culprit of this act until and otherwise he or she proves that he or she has been innocent. Child friendly investigation trial has to be made. This is a very important point because statements have to be recorded in the child's own house or a place where he or she is comfortable and by a woman constable, and examination has to be done by a woman doctor. The child should not be refrained from house at night, and police should never be in uniform. They should be in informal or outdress. Okay. Then all the statements have to be recorded in, it is spoken by the child. Child protection cell has to be informed, and every time one member from the child protection cell has to be there. One member from forensic team will also be there, because they will help in telling us from where and how the samples will be taken. Then special courts are held where compensation is given to the doctor, the personnels or other personnels who are involved directly with the case. Speedy trial has to be made. Within the first 30 days, reporting of the case has to be done, and punishment has to be given by 6 months to 1 year. Media people have to be very, very strict and cautious, because they cannot reveal the name of the victim to anybody. The principles are basically the rights of the child. The rights means right to be treated with dignity, right to survival, right to all the preventive measures, right against discrimination, right to be informed, and right to privacy of the child. The timeline of the events are that the doctor has to inform the police inspector and then proceed with the safety or the first aid, whatever the doctor finds as life-saving in that moment. Okay. Then once you do with the proceedings, that is, you are done with the first aid, then the further proceedings have to be done, preferably in the presence of the police. But if police does not come, then you have to go with the proceedings. Samples have to be preserved. All the clothes and samples from the genitalia and everything has to be taken care of. And these samples have to be sealed in the presence of the police themselves. And they have this special sealing technique that also they show. So sealed and has to be sent to the forensic laboratory at the earliest the police takes. The MLC has to be 3 copies. One will be retained by the patient's party themselves, the legal guardian or the patient. The second will go to the police station, and the third will be retained by the hospital. So these documents have to be preserved, because during the proceedings, anytime these documents can be asked. So this is all about the POCSO Act. POCSO Act is very important and a very important topic considering the social obstetrics and gynecology. Okay. Always remember, social obstetrics and gynecology is one of the scoring topics, because these all come in your paper 4. Paper 4 is miscellaneous topics which always come. So be prepared with those also, because we generally tend to read more and more of basic core obstetrics, core gynecology, and we try to leave them. So don't leave them also, because in exam every topic is important once it comes to the recent advances also. So thank you for listening to this class, and I hope we'll see you in next lectures. Conceptual OBG is a platform whereby we bring all the expert faculties in their respective areas to come and interact with you, and you get the best and finest of the study materials. So thank you. Stay tuned to Conceptual OBG.